What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Reddit series. Now, in this series, I like to dive into Reddit, find a particular question that's been marked up in hopes to hit the masses and address those particular questions that you may have. Now, as always, I have already pre-selected a question. I haven't read this all the way through. I've just only read part of the topic. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right in and then go from there and see what we got in store today. So let me go ahead and pull this up on the screen and then see what we got. Here we go. There we are. I think we're good there. Okay, the question is, I hate seeing my friends do better than me. Title says it. You know the quote that goes, some people want to see you do better, just not better than them. I am those people. Before, I had no goals and no dreams, so I don't care who did better than me. But now, I hate seeing people, especially friends, do better in something I am trying hard in. And I know it makes me a terrible friend. I never tried to make anyone's success from them, and I always help everyone, but I would be secretly hoping they do slightly worse than me. How can I stop being like this? Because I hate myself for it. How can I stop being jealous of my friends' success? Well, I must say that in particular, you know, a lot of times it talk about comparing yourself to other people, and you always hear that statement, don't compare yourself to others. It is hard, especially when we compare ourselves to our peers to kind of grade where we're at. And a lot of times you may feel that, you know, I'm just not catching on like the next person, but, you know, we tend to forget the fact that, you know, we come from different walks of life, our environments, you know, our parents, our education levels, they are all very different. So we have to understand that the way that we learn is from our previous experiences. So other people might seem to be picking stuff up a little bit better because they might have something that they can relate to the particular thing that you are trying to achieve, or maybe they have been doing it and it may not seem like they just started. And so ultimately you want to try not to judge yourself and put yourself on the same boat. And the best way to do this is when you're finding that you're thinking of that other person and comparing yourself, you need to stop. Again, refocus on what you're doing. And a lot of times the best way to do this is to put yourself back in the moment, right? Ultimately, if you are dealing with any kind of stress, especially if you are dealing with comparing yourself to someone else, try to put yourself in the moment. So meditation, breathing, right? Focusing on your breathing in the moment. When you focus on a breathing technique, right? Just do some box breathing. That's essentially 6 in, hold for 4, 6 out, hold for 4. Do that 6 times, right? This causes you to focus on the moment because you have to focus on your breath. So it takes away from that thought process of you trying to compare. Now, you may be out and about, right? You want to focus on some particular part in your body. Maybe it's just controlling your breath. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just focus on that. If you can focus on your breath, this helps eliminate the thought. Now, that thought may be still lingering around in there, but you want to continue to just keep focusing on that thought. And then whenever this happens, right, when you start feeling bad towards the other person, or, you know, you hate comparing yourself, try to bring yourself into the now. Right. And this allows you to, again, take focus off of that particular person. Yes, I think we all are competitive in nature. We don't want to fail. Right. That's just natural. This is not something we want to do. We want to do better. And we feel like we're smart enough a lot of different times. And some people, you feel like you put forth a lot of effort, but it's a lot of effort for you. Right. Again, the other person may be coming from a different walk of life or have other relevant experience that makes it seem easier for them because they have some way of relating that information to something else that they've already previously done. So being said, You can't judge a person on that, right? All you have to focus on is, how am I executing? How can I get better? Now, I know, again, that's easier said than done, but you want to focus on the moment. And if you feel that you just can't do it, you need to remove yourself or go out and relieve some of that stress. And the best way to relieve stress is through doing some kind of physical activity, right? If you find that's all you're doing, you're having these nasty thoughts about the other person, whatever it is, go out and walk around, go run, go do some kind of physical activity, right? Go weight training, go rock climbing, go canoeing, whatever the case is, whatever activity you like, go out and relieve some of this, right? It regrounds you into thinking about the current moment. It's a practice in not comparing yourself, right? And knowing that when you are doing it is to get up and move and do something else and take your mind off of that particular thing. And the biggest thing we tend to do is, again, we like to correlate how long, right? We think about the path, we think about the duration on the goals that we're trying to achieve. And again, we forget about all the other stuff, right? About wherever they're coming from in their walk of life. But what you need to ultimately focus on is just the destination. And if that requires you to just focus, right? Doing visual techniques helps with this a lot. And you don't think it would, but it does, right? Because your brain doesn't know the difference between the messages that are being sent to the brain and what you can actually visualize in your head, right? The brain doesn't know any different. Maybe you do, but ultimately your brain does not. So if you feel like you're constantly comparing to the other person, instead put yourself at that destination. What would you look like in that? Well, how would you feel completing that and being in that particular spot that you are, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, or whatever skill it is that you're trying to achieve, right? Visualize yourself, right? And the more you practice this, again, it is a practice. You have to continue to maintain this and keep doing this. But ultimately, you find that you start becoming that person, right? And so you start eliminating this other thought of the other people that are in your life that you're comparing to. And I know it's hard, especially with friends, when you get even relationships, right? You can find that you have that competitive edge. And so if you see other people exceed that, it's hard to watch. And so you have to refocus on yourself. What can I do to make myself better? I can visualize myself in completing what it is in whatever matter of time that is, right? Don't get caught up in the time. Don't get caught up in the path or anything like that. Again, your mind automatically does this. You are fighting against the grain, but you need to understand that you can't achieve it by distracting your brain, by thinking of either going through an activity and getting your mind off of everything, or again, to visualizing yourself already completing that and refocusing, right? And when you do that, you cause yourself to reshift your focus on the things that you should be executing, as opposed to, well, I'm just not there yet, and this person's already there, and so I'm getting jealous of it, and it's making me angry. You're coming at it the wrong way, right? And ultimately, you want to reshift focus whenever that happens. So be conscious of when it happens, and then try to change it and do one of the techniques to help you, or both of them, right? Ultimately, if you could do both of them at the same time, where again, you can go out and be active and then come back, visualize what you're doing, and then start doing it, taking the steps, right? And again, when you find that your thoughts and ideas start thinking of bad things about that particular person, again, you can reshift focus, do some meditation, put yourself in the now. Ultimately is what matters. It takes, again, your focus off future or past events, whatever the case is, and allows you to not do this. Again, now, if you're with that person and you're feeling guilty and stuff about it, it will be hard, but as long as you can, again, visualize, okay, well, what is my destination, right? Just keep that into the forefront of your memory. So you ultimately don't want to buy too much into it. You just want to be able to separate yourself from that other person and stop the comparing, right? It's just pretty much comparing. And I know you feel guilty. Everybody has it. These techniques that I've helped you with do help, right? But they're going to continue to happen. It just doesn't go away. By nature, we are competitive. We want to do better. We want to be successful, right? That's just part of who we are. But being said, you can deter that and rewire your brain to think differently as opposed to thinking about the other person. Right now, you have that pattern in your forefront of your memory that, man, I'm just, I'm not going to do any better than this person. They've already exceeded, and I'm just garbage, right? Then you start having this vicious cycle about how you're not good, about how you're not good enough, how you'll never achieve. And I learned so slow, and you start this negative thought process, which is not good because it's reoccurring, and every other thing that comes up, you compare yourself to the next person. So you got to remove the pattern. So that's ultimately what you're trying to do here, is remove that pattern so that you can continue on and achieve your destination. So being said, I hope that helps. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And also share this with someone out there that may be going through the same thing, who may be dealing with feeling guilty about comparing themselves and wanting secretly for the other person to fail, right? But ultimately understand it's just a pattern you need to break and to essentially refocus on yourself. So again, till next time, I will see you guys later.